If you had battled and learned the Daedashian fight for the first time, you probably felt a very different battle style. Status effects in Kingdom Hearts usually get sidelined by players, easily interpreting them as merely abilities the bosses have. Action RPGs have similar viewpoints as turn-based RPGs in terms of status effects, but action RPGs is, as it sounds, more action and fast. Getting struck with a negative status effect can shift the battle immediately in how you use your abilities. Now I know Desperation Moves does that function easily, but it's predictable. Sometimes, Desperation Moves aren't in the middle of the fight while trying to find openings, and status effects serve as a great mechanic to punish players who would aimlessly attack. Kingdom Hearts 3 has given the player with mechanics that boils down to survival. It's an easy way to get off the M's, but it can't be used repeatedly amidst normal battle to find openings. Negative status effects makes the fight dependent on the player's ability to learn and avoid those attacks. Now Heartless and Unversed can inflict negative status effects as well, but it only imposes a minor inconvenience which isn't really as impactful as the boss fights. Shion has a very unique case, a status effect that temporarily reduces your maximum health, which can be seen from Yuzora and Zerona as well, except that she's gonna be busting out those light beams in almost all her combos. The very fast fighting style she portrays is something that keeps you moving and focused upon the attacks that stuns or reduces your health. Her warp movements and attacks are gonna be the focus of the fight, with her interchangeably using her abilities to confuse you. And the only way to recover from status effects in Kingdom Hearts 3 is using the most expensive item on the market. This puts the player into a state of quick decision making. Links and shotlocks can be mechanics to survive, but the punishing value of spending all your MP and not finding the opening isn't so viable. Xemnas is another one with his vines. Not really a status effect, but more so affects the player in moving their positioning and character. You no longer have the triangle spam, but it does no damage and disorients the player continuously, having the sole function of annoying you that can lower your reaction time when trying to keep track of the battle. Both by Sleep's Mimic Master and Vanitas' Living Spirit has this one ability to blind you, which is one of the most unique negative status effects in a game like Kingdom Hearts. This status effect would not only reduce your field of view, but this allows you from locking onto the enemy and shot locks. Even if it only takes a little damage, it stops you from your tracks for a while. Now imagine this with the data bells. You can't see warp movements or long range attacks, and the way the team fights were designed in the final stage of the base game could make this status effect balanced. They're not continuously attacking and would fill the void to run the effects timers down. The Lingering Will has the ability to disable commands, and you could count Yuzora as having that ability as well, but what makes Lingering Will different is that you'd have to break out of it, rather than surviving through it as with Yuzora. It again comes to the player's decision making, when to find that window of opportunity and position themselves. Status effects that lock Sora's mobility are just great ways of punishing the player if they weren't aware of it. With Kingdom Hearts 3's focus on encouraging the player to incorporate more abilities into their gameplay, status effects just makes it more usable. Several Keyblades provide protections against negative status effects, like Nano Gear's Stun Protection and Crystal Snow's Freeze Protection. Status effect would help expand the use of some of the early game Keyblades, and there are many opportunities for it to be implemented into gameplay, and hopefully future games can see that as well. That's my take for this. Either way, I'm not much of a person to pay too much attention to combat, but this way of design could balance the way future Kingdom Hearts are played. For the way team battles are structured, there are rooms for more well-designed status effect to land in. Until then, stick around, and thank you for watching.